joining us today. We are honored to have Yoko Sekino Bove as our guest on Lunch and Learn today, and I will introduce her more specifically in a few moments. I am Jennifer Zwilling, the curator of artistic programs. I think everybody here knows me. I usually forget to introduce myself, so I'm just doing this as a way to remind myself that I should do it. We at the Clay Studio are grateful to all of you for continuing to make our community robust by joining us. We are working really hard to provide programming like this, and there's free Clay at Home videos on our YouTube page. If you are interested in supporting us in this endeavor, feel free to go to our website and click donate. I think maybe Raymond or Shannon would put that in the chat for me. We have a lot of exciting things happening this year as we're launching into 2021. You probably all know as well that we are in the process of building a new building. So I have a snapshot to share with all of you because our friends who are around the Crane building are nice enough to send us pictures every now and then. So here is the latest image of the new building, and that you'll see is to the left is the basement and the floor of the first level of the building. To the right is still a dirt area because that's going to be a parking lot space, and as the building rises to the second story, it will take up the full width of the lot and go up. You can kind of see the stair tower going up right here, and on the other side of the stair tower is where the gallery is going to be. So when I drove by the other day, I was imagining sculptures in there. So that's your little sneak peek of the new site for today. I'm also gonna, thank you, Chuck. I wanna always thank my colleagues. We have an amazing team at the Clay Studio. Jennifer Martin is our executive director. Josie is the COO. She's also on the call. We have Shannon helping us, Raymond here as usual. I think Naima might be on the call. She is doing an amazing job in the shop, getting tons of internet orders out and shipped. So you can come visit us in person. And if you'd like to see Yoko's show, please do that. But you can also check out everything online and buy online, and we will send it out. If you're local, I might even drop it off myself to your house. So you can wave at me from your window. I'm in preparation for that new building. We're working on a project called Making Place Matter, which is going to be the first exhibition in the new building. And we have a meeting later, and I just thought I'd share with you, my friends, that I was compiling some scientific data about the value of craft. So I'm just going to read you a couple of sentences here. Craft activities done in group settings encourage gentle movement, reduce social isolation, and lower inflammation and stress hormones such as cortisol. The arts are linked with dopamine release, which encourages cognitive flexibility. Creative activity undertaken daily is linked to positive psychological functioning, while increased engagement with arts events, historical sites, and museums is associated with improved life satisfaction. So if you ever wondered why we all have this intuitive sense that doing this stuff is making our lives better, there's actual science to back it up. All right, I am, as I said, very pleased to introduce you to Yoko Sekino Bove. Her exhibition in the gallery at this moment is called The Usefulness of Use. And I'm just trying to juggle my windows for a moment. Sorry, everybody. Yoko Sekino Bove was born in Osaka, Japan. She graduated from Musashino Art University in Tokyo, Japan, with a Bachelor of Fine Art degree in graphic design before moving to the United States. She worked as a commercial designer in Los Angeles before her passion for ceramic art took her onto a new path. She earned a Master of Fine Art degree in ceramics from the University of Oklahoma and served as an artist in residence in the ceramic department of the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach, Florida. In 2005, Yoko moved to Washington, Pennsylvania, right on the other side of the state, and she started working from her home studio while teaching at local colleges and art centers. Her porcelain work has been included in prestigious exhibitions nationally and internationally, She was selected as one of the Emerging Artists 2011 by the Ceramic Arts Daily Council in the US. She presented a solo exhibition at Red Star Studio in Missouri, Plinth Gallery in Denver, B Galleries in Pittsburgh, Appalachian Center for Crafts in Tennessee, Charlie Cummings Gallery in Florida, Clay Studio here in Philadelphia. Her work was included in Push Play and Seeka Invitational 2012. She has shown work all over the world, including the World Ceramic Biennale in Incheon, South Korea. She served as an artist in residence at Cerdeira Village of Art and Craft in Portugal, and completed the art industry residency at John Michael Kohler Art Center in Wisconsin in 2014. In 2017, she was included in the NCECA Pittsburgh conference with a solo show at the Pittsburgh Center for the Arts. So one more thing I'm going to share before asking Yoko a few questions is this other photo, just to give you a glimpse. Oops, nope, that didn't work. Sorry. Oh, why is it showing you the site again? Yeah, why is that happening? Hold on, sorry. One more time.
It showed me the galleries page, Jennifer.
Oh, it did? Oh, on my screen it was still showing it. Now do you see it? Yeah. Okay. There's a glimpse into the gallery where Yoko's work is installed, and as I mentioned to her yesterday, when I walk in, I feel a hug of beauty and humor and hope and fine craft and her amazing technique. So we'll see more of that as we go along. Now I'm finally going to ask Yoko if you would start by telling us a little bit about the time that you remember, the earliest time you remember wanting to become an artist in your life.
That's a great question. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. And to answer your question, when the first time I wanted to be an artist, that would have been a long time ago when I was still in grade school. But by going to the art university, I was given the privilege to test different mediums, all the different ones, so that helped me to figure out what would be the best for me. So yeah, I would say teenage.
Yeah. And I say it's a brave decision because it's not the easiest path to make your life as an artist. So I think it also was very brave of you to come to the US. Do you think of these decisions as brave, or what kind of spurred you on to make these choices?
I think you give me too much credit for me about.
You're so modest. I mean, you deserve much praise.
So I came to the United States after I graduated with a graphic design degree because I was following a boy. So it had nothing to do with that.
Are you kidding? That's the bravest thing you can do, right?
Nice to be young, right? That we don't need to worry about it too much and just jump in and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, sure. It is brave for sure. And well, then you made that transition. So you were working in graphic design, and then you found clay. So tell us about that moment.
So the first time I came to the United States, I was an international student at a community college in Los Angeles. So because of my previous college degrees, they accepted me as a student, but my English was not good enough to take regular classes. So my student advisor put me into the ceramic class. So she thought that I can just copy on the people who allowed me without understanding the verbal instruction. So, and I found that ceramic community in that community college, and the instructor I felt so safe and enjoyable. And also, instead of using computer technology to create the graphic design work, then I enjoyed working with my hands so much. That was back when the dot-com boom was happening in California, and I felt like that the art of the graphic design was hijacked by the computer software. So it took me years to make sure I may have a chance in ceramics as a career, that I had to apply for different shows and the different opportunity and make sure that my work was acceptable to some people at least before making that jump. But by the time that I was able to jump, then that I was more comfortable with myself and my decision.
Mm. What was it that made you feel comfortable? What was it, being accepted to a particular show or making sales? What was the thing that made you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to do this as a career?
That's a really good
Or
question.
a combination of all of those things, I guess?
Yes, all the things just like you mentioned, and also that I had enough um, financial. I was confident to be able to support myself financially,
Mhm.
so that if that my trial didn't work out, at least I can go back to the graphic design. And also, hmm, um, my H-1B visa back then was just about to expire, so that I thought I would give myself a few years of graduate school and see what's going to happen. So I still had a little bit of a backup plans as well.
Okay, so you decided that at that moment when you were ready, that that's when you went to grad school for ceramics,
That's right.
and you sort of went into that path.
Mhm.
That's so interesting. I think it's so important to share these stories with people because especially young people don't, it's so hard to imagine the curvy path that we all take. I think, that every time I talk to a 20-year-old about they're so worried about what's going to happen, I always say nobody I hardly know anyone who when they're 40 is doing this thing that they thought they were going to be doing, and that it's life takes you on a path and you have to just see what you enjoy and make yourself comfortable and then jump.
That's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah, we never know what's going to happen until we try, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, we have a question that's related to this. And Asuyo Miller asks, what drove you to Oklahoma? I guess what made you want to go to Oklahoma for grad school?
So when I started applying for the grad school, that well, first of all, I decided to leave Los Angeles because that's when I broke up with the boyfriend that I came to the United States for. So I wanted to move out of the West Coast. Then that the University of Oklahoma gave me the best package that I couldn't refuse. So I thought, if they think I'm that they can treat me that well, then it wouldn't go bad. So
Yeah. Well, that's good. And that's another thing I tell young people, go to grad school where they will give you funding.
yes, yes, I'm with you 100%.
Do not pay for grad school. Um, Great. Well, I know that you prepared some images for to share with us, and I did make you a co-host. So if you would like to
Sure.
go with that.
So can you see the celadon pot,
Yes.
purple background? Okay, that's great. So this was one of my earliest piece that from the community college
Mm.
time. So when I started learning ceramics, I sucked. The first semester that I couldn't make anything reasonable. Everything was so heavy and sometimes with holes. And I couldn't accept that how bad I was. So that's why I decided to take the class one more time. So it should give me a chance to make reasonable pieces. That didn't happen, so that I had to go back to take the third class. And I kept going back for about 6, 7 years, even after graduated with a graphic design degree. Then I kept taking the ceramic class to make better pieces. So this is one of the attempt that the pot itself was super heavy, that my boyfriend back then called it a weapon grade.
Weapon grade.
It was that heavy. So that's why I started learning the surface decoration techniques, such as carvings on this piece, just to reduce the sheer weight of the parts.
Got it.
So,
It's a practical
yes,
application.
it worked. So even when I went to the grad school, I still had the program of the weight control on my parts. So I was simultaneously studying how to throw a better pot, and also how to hide those flaws with a nice surface decoration, so that the people will be distracted enough so that they wouldn't worry about the practical weight. Until I became an apprentice at a tableware studio in Maine for one summer, that I really had a challenge on throwing.
That's so interesting, because when you were saying you took the class over and over, I was immediately thinking it sounds like an apprenticeship. And then um, you went and had that apprenticeship, and it really is just repetition that is what increases skill.
Yes.
Master, what, 10,000 hours?
Yes, and 200 pots a day, right?
Yep.
So sometimes I tell people this is much more like sports, that you have to do it every day at a certain level to keep your skill alive. That just like the pianist has to practice every day. If I don't work on the wheel for a few days, then I can feel the difference.
Wow.
So, and the great thing about the graduate school was that the professors really asked questions that what the pots do in the contemporary society, then what can we offer as a potter or a ceramic artist? Since that the mass-produced product, the ceramic products are doing a great job, that what kind of other values can we offer? And how we can, if I want to treat the ceramic pots as an artwork or a pot, and what's the difference between them? So it was a very educational opportunity, at least for me, to start thinking about what my work can offer to the people.
And that's so related to the statement you've made for this exhibition, which, if you don't mind, I can read to everyone. Ever since the pandemic started, I've been wondering what I can do and how I can help. Is there anything I can do for this world as an individual and as a ceramic artist? And so it sounds like that question that they asked you is something that is often playing in your mind, and it maybe just was emphasized during this difficult time.
Yes, especially. Um, I have lots of family members that who participate to the medical industry. Some of them are doctors, nurse practitioners, and insurance person, and all of them are working so hard to save people and help them out. On the other hand, there's not much I can do other than staying at home and not walking around outside. and that makes me feel so frustrated and desperate that I want to help people too, but how I can do it. So that's why I decided to take this opportunity at the solo exhibition to create the set group of pieces after the pandemic started, so that it will be a more cohesive thought or more like a diary, so we can share the feelings, the difficulties we face every day, and we can feel more united together.
Well, I know I'm excited to see the rest of your slides from earlier work, but just to say, I definitely think that it has worked. So, and I love that you called it a diary. I mean, I certainly felt my spirits rise, which is a very big accomplishment these days, I think.
Yes, you're right. Every little thing we do in the daily life that became so difficult. So,
Yeah.
so and this is when I switched from the high fire gas reduction firing to the mid-range oxidation firing, since my husband and I moved to Pennsylvania 15 years ago now. And I was always working at a school environment until then, and there's so many people I can ask for help. And this was the first time that I set up my home studio by myself, and I didn't know anyone in this area when I moved in. So everything has to be done from the scratch. So it took me about 2 years to establish the home studio practice and start creating something that I can be satisfied with.
And we have a question in the chat about the process for the graphics, the technique of putting the images onto the pots.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for asking that question. So again, on Saturday, the Clay Studio and I are offering the Zoom workshop for the surface decoration technique. And I would like to show you real time how I do it. But usually I create design first, then come up with the form to present it. And usually I use the combination of carvings, sgraffitos, glaze paintings, and then luster firing on top to usually complete the work in my style. So the teapot set that you are seeing right now on this slide is a good example of the combination of different techniques. So the black lines are drawn with the black underglaze, then the carvings are applied. Then I use different glazes to paint on top to specify the colors and let them run down by using a clear glaze that creates that blurred effect. Then after the glaze firing, I use the gold luster and do the luster firing to create the gold shiny section. So this one too.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It was really fun to make this. So sometimes I just use the underglaze to paint, almost like a watercolor or acrylic paint. So the yellow canary bird, that's a combination of the yellow underglaze, then giving the shadow with the black underglaze.
And what a different style that was a sort of trompe l'oeil, three-dimensional sense of the bird being inside the cage. And then, you know, you go back and forth beautifully between that three-dimensional sense and then intentionally flat images as well. So I know you have some important source material, and just if you want to talk about maybe your inspiration as we look at this speech bubble in front of us.
So that when I think what I can offer to the people, that there's so many other wonderful artists, and what I can offer as an individual, then that also that what I'm familiar, so that I'm not confusing people with the misinformation, that I use the Asian philosophy or culture or design or style as my motive. That so, for example, this married couples Yunomi set is based on the Japanese culture of gifting a newly married couple to celebrate and wish their harmony, marital harmony, that they always present a pair cup. It's almost like giving a pair coffee mug to a newlywed in the United States. So it's the same idea.
Yeah.
So this one was originally to celebrate my parents' 42nd wedding anniversary. That they've been married for a long time, but every day they just bicker to each other. That it's just nonstop. And when I was little, I didn't understand the nuance of their marriage. So I was always wondering why they are married from the beginning. Then I got married, and now I feel like I can feel more about all the delicate layers of intimate relationship that the other people don't know, even their own children. so, well, of course, my parents don't understand English, so thank God that I can make this piece and keep it safe from my parents.
So we didn't give it to them. It's just in honor of it. They don't have this on their shelf saying, "Oh, our daughter made this for us."
Yes. Thank you for using the word honor. Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have that same experience of change, right? As a child, seeing people have that kind of relationship, and then realizing later that you can't ever know somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I love it.
It's always interesting to learn the new perspective or opening up to different ideas. So this one was this set is called as Diary Cup Project. When I was invited to the Coda Artist Residency in Wisconsin, I had several ideas about what I would like to do there. At the same time, I wanted to create at least one series just for the residency itself to celebrate my experience and their generosity, to show people how it is from the one artist's point of view. Also, it was a really great challenge for me because I usually create the pot by myself on the wheel. So each piece is one and only, and that's my goal, to create the one and only experience for one person who purchased the piece. But the idea of slip casting and mass producing the same product is almost like magic. And I wanted to create this series of a cup as a representation or symbol of our day, every day. So unless we fill it up with a special memory, cup is empty, and the same amount, everything is same since it's duplicated, just like our day. And until we remember it, that day is just like any other day. So I wanted to celebrate my 76 days at the quarter, one by one, to write down or draw what happened on that day, how I felt, how sunny it was, or what happened on that day. Somebody told me about the cheese this cheese or that cheese. So many little things. I wanted to record it so that the Coda Foundation can show it to the people how the residency it was to artists they invited. So each cup was painted at the end of the day and made one by one every day while I was there. So in this photo that they are not 76 yet because that was not the last day for me to be there. So they even let me complete the project by taking 4 cups to home to complete. So they still have the complete set at the Coda Foundation. It was a different type of challenge, and that was a great experience and a learning curve for me as an artist.
It makes me want to pick up everyone and see what's on all the sides.
Yes, sometimes that features my first deep fried cheese curd.
A lot of cheese. I know it's Wisconsin, right? So
That's
there's
right.
cheese in every cup.
That was great. I loved it.
Excellent.
So this is a semi-sculptural piece that I created while I was working at the Archibald Foundation in Montana. That I was invited to be there for a short time as a short-term resident, and I wanted to do something different. Since I have my home studio at home and can produce and complete the production by myself, every time I go to somewhere, I want to do something I cannot do at home. I want to push myself out of the comfort zone and do something. But at the same time, that I became so trapped in the idea of functional ceramics that this is my limit to create a porcelain pillow, which was based on the actual object in the Asian culture starting around 12th centuries. So porcelain pillows or ceramic pillows were actual functional items in the Asian cultures, China, Korea, and Japan. And they said that it works great, especially for summer, because the ceramic pieces are so cold to touch. So that in the hot summer night, it cools your neck down and let you sleep better. So I adapted the idea of the ceramic pillow and created several of them to carry out the stories.
And almost like a dreamscape. So it looks to me related to sleep in that way.
Thank you. Yes, that was my idea. That my husband suffers insomnia quite a bit, so I wanted to create the stories about sleeps, dreams, and what it means to people.
Lovely.
And this would be the last piece that this is actually included in the solo show, The Usefulness of Use, this time. So again, while I was making the pieces for this show, that there's so many stories we heard, and there's so much going on. And one time I was talking to a gallery manager who belongs to a different organization, and she was telling me how difficult it is for the young ceramic artists to keep making during the pandemic because they lost the studio access. Would be the same at the clay studio too, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, people were not able to come in, and now we're lucky enough to have we call them key holders, people who have studios, but our classes had to stop again. So yeah, it's hard for people who that's how they depend to make their work in classes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had so many stories that, especially the young people who are just out of the school, they don't have the access to their studios or schools or organizations that they belong to. So I was lucky to have the home studio, but I feel like that I want to send out encouragement to the people, that to remind them how much of a fun to make ceramics together, and hopefully soon, hopefully in the very near future, that we can get together and start making ceramics again. So I'm hoping that this will be just a little bit of a reminder for the people how much of fun we had together, and that we can have it again. So on the right side, you will see the drawings, ink and sumi ink drawings of the animals playing together. And that's called the Choju Giga. And that's one of the national treasure in Japan that describes all the different animals playing together and having a good time. So I used that as a format to translate the ceramic making process for this table. So it is my idea of all the different people getting together and working together and having fun together. And the little bottom of the tables, there's a section that's wavy patterns covering the bottom, and that's the cones that's coming down little by little by little.
Oh, the cones. Yeah. Oh, I see that now. I hadn't noticed that before.
Cone 7 to 10.
In the waves of the bottom. That's so
So I hope you will have a chance to see the actual piece in the gallery sometimes, if you have a chance.
Yeah, people will need to come in before the end of the by the end of the month. I think the 2nd of January is the last day, because that piece was purchased yesterday, so
Yes.
it will go away. Yeah, I love that one. It's so great, and it does. They look like they're having fun.
So this will conclude my little slideshow. And is there any questions I can take?
Yeah, I will read some questions. I also want to just show everybody a couple of other pieces that are in the exhibition. So
let me stop sharing it on this side.
great.
Yep.
And I will open this, and then I'll read some questions. Okay. So just a glimpse of this while we're talking for a few minutes for everyone to see the lemonade maker set. And this is the great example of one of the things made specifically for the pandemic. And you can see the jackalope is juggling his lemons. And on the other side, which I'll show you in a moment, he's riding the lemon. And I just love that idea. Now every day I think, am I juggling the lemons today, or am I riding them?
It's more about how many lemons you are juggling today.
Right. Well, sometimes if you have control, you can feel like you're riding the lemon, right? And here's the lemon reamer and the little dish that goes that collects the lemon juice. And then the survival award, which is a shot glass, also appropriate. And I'll show you the other side of that in a moment. But first, as I said, I'm going to see about the questions. And if anyone wants to unmute, they're welcome also to ask questions that way. I want to reiterate that Yoko is having a workshop on Saturday. And Yoko, it starts at 1:30, or I'm not.
1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
1 to 3. And so I am not a ceramic artist, as you all know, and I'm going to it because I just want to watch Yoko making things and be further inspired and find out more details. So if you are in the same position, or if you are an artist who wants to learn these techniques, please think about signing up. Raymond put the link in the chat, and I believe that it's $30 or $25 for members. So very reasonable, and you get to spend your afternoon with Yoko again. I mean, really. And someone on the chat said, Yoko is funny.
Yeah.
That was good too. Okay, so Raymond says, love the Celadon jar. That was the first one. The way the glaze works with the lines. You talked about your graphic techniques. Beautiful work, beautiful work. Are you painting underglaze on greenware or bisque? Asks Michelle.
Greenware. By the way, Jennifer, I
Mm.
just remembered that slideshow was not over. So can I go back to it?
Oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
so sorry.
No, that's totally fine.
Okay. So
I hope I wasn't rushing you.
no. I don't know how it just popped out of my head. So that about the process questions, then I would like to show you some photos of the process that how I decorate actually. So this is a greenware just after finished trimming, so that the surface is still moist. That would be the best stage to absorb the underglaze properly, and still soft and flexible enough for me to pick up and move around or carve into.
Mm-hmm.
So first I use a pencil to draw the lines. Then the left is the first step, and move to the right. That after creating the lines to give myself idea, then that I will start decorating using the color underglaze with for the details. Then I will proceed on the left, that start applying a little bit more carving into the underglaze area, and paint the scale to create more details. On the right, the scales are carved in using the sgraffito techniques. So this is how I work on my thigh, looking down all day long.
Well, that's not good for your neck.
No, not good. Especially if my cat insists on sitting down on my lap. That sometimes the cat sit down on my lap and I work here to carve in. Then cats get annoyed. Then all the little clay flakes are coming down on them. We cannot make them happy.
Nope.
So this is how it's finished. So that the crowd parts are curved, then that the painted with the glaze, so it will create a little more random smearing or blurred effect. Then many people used to ask me if I did the decals. To avoid that question and to prove that these are not decal but hand painted and hand carved, that I prefer combining the different techniques so that the people can see everything is handmade. So I think this was the end of my slideshow. Thank you, Jennifer, for your patience.
Oh no, not a problem. I like it when other people forget things because it makes me feel better. I forget things all the time. Oh, I will go back to show this just so people can look at that. And that is good because someone did ask about decals and whether any of the images were made with decals. And the answer we now know is no.
I think I'm going to screw up if I try the decals.
Well, I don't think you need to, so it's okay. And then Kevin Snipes says, Konnichiwa, Yoko-san. I don't know if I was supposed to read that out loud, but there you go. And then Raymond says, I feel that Yoko is continuing the Japanese idea of national treasure and of crafted objects giving meaning and value to everyday life in these contemporary times in her own language. Visual language, maybe. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Raymond. And Michelle says, I love the thought that has gone into each of your pieces. Awesome that you are funny. And that Raymond is also complimenting your photography.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That credit goes to my husband.
Oh, nice to hear. Okay. Yep, they're beautiful. And I have a feeling that Raymond was nodding when you said the thing about computers co-opting the graphic design. Anyway, we'll have that conversation another day. So I just want to show everybody a few more of the pieces that are in the gallery. This one, I Scratch Your Back, another one that made all of us smile and laugh in the gallery. We see the monkeys there. And then there's a series there's a few that are called They Used to Be God, the catfish and the rooster. So can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. So that's what I started thinking around, I think in October, that as an average Japanese, that I simultaneously practice the Buddhism and the Shintoism both at the same time.
Mm.
So in both religions or social practice, depends on how you look at it, that there are animals that elevated to the god or demigod status,
Mm.
just like any animalism religions such as the ancient Egyptian culture and or ancient Roman cultures, that certain animals are designated for certain gods as a messenger or the little servant or symbols of them. And in this difficult time, that we are doing everything we can, but in my understanding, our gods should be helping us too. That's their job, right?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be giving us too much challenges we cannot handle. So I just started thinking all of those helps, that emotional helps that we can summon, that whether it's your idea of gods or not, that at least to me, that this is what the Japanese people do whenever they face all the natural disasters that we face. Whenever we have the epidemic or drought or earthquakes or hurricane or nuclear plant blowing up, that we ask the God at least for our mental stability, whether it's a practical help or not, that would be the science's job. But in my mind, that we can use the religions or faith to support ourselves. So that I started researching on all the different animals that used to be worshipped as a god, and started using those motifs as a little emotional help animal.
Yeah. And that makes me think of some of those articles I've been reading, because they connect making craft with meditation.
Mm.
And so mindfulness has a lot of the same benefits as that repetitive motion of craft and making. And that has a lot to do with kind of just what we, in religion is prayer, or your idea of kind of focusing your attention onto the the animal that has been worshipped, or whatever your cultural or religious practices. You're creating mindfulness, you're creating a peaceful time in your mind, and that has actual health benefits, both mental health and physical health. So it's all connected. So just so people can see that, also here's the hare and the tortoise on the teapot. One of my favorites, self-imposed hopes and dreams, because I love unicorns. And this is great. The unicorn is being offered a carrot as an incentive to keep moving, I guess. Is that what's happening here?
Yes.
Just lovely, intricate, complex works that create that sense of mindfulness. Because I think, if you were to pick up any of these pieces, and I'm looking at the Winter Day teapot, you have to be thoughtful, you have to be careful because they're delicate, and you have to look at them, and as you turn them, they have different images. So you're actually creating that mindfulness moment by creating the object. And I know that's something you think about when you're offering it to somebody to take home with them. They are gaining that benefit that you are intentionally putting out to help. I mean, I just think it's very effective and lovely. Thank you for sharing this with us. I feel lucky to have it in the gallery. Here's another way we sometimes feel. The frogs are, it's another plague. The frogs are falling from the sky. Someday everything will make perfect sense. And then on the other side, the fish is saying, I used to believe in coincidences. And this apology teapot, what you can't see is the other side, which says, ask her.
Just like parents.
Exactly. And then the famous cats, we should learn from our cats on how they know how to relax, I think, perhaps. Do you want to talk a little bit about the elephant perfume bottle? That was one that is mysterious to me with the toaster.
Thank you. So it's the white elephant perfume bottle. And
White
sometimes,
elephant. Oh, I have to fix that.
oh, that's okay. The idea of the white elephant, the unwanted elaborated gift. So I was doing some such about a gift. I cannot remember the occasion, but anyway, so that there was a online article about that how to avoid unwanted gift, like what you shouldn't gift to people, and the list was containing so many surprises, such as, for example, you shouldn't gift flower bouquet to people because some people don't like the smell or the strong fragrance of this flower. I've never thought of it. Then that some people said, do not give perfume to people because everyone has a different preference. And the list went on, and at the end, then I just concluded I cannot give anything to anyone.
Much easier that way.
So at the same time, sometimes some people tell me that they purchased my work as a gift. And in one occasion, one person asked me for the married Unami couple pair set as an engagement gift for her son. So I'm glad to hear that she had a good relationship with a family member. It's a very bold idea, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that sometimes when someone tells me that they purchased my work as a gift, then I just really hope that's not going to be a white elephant and it's not going to end up in a Goodwill store.
I don't think so. But if it did, then maybe someone would find it there who loves it. But I wouldn't. I don't think so. But we didn't answer the question about the toaster. Is a toaster a good gift? Is that why you put it on?
Yes, that was on the list.
That was on the list. Okay. And then, you know, the give and take cups are special to me because I like to knit and I have friends who I knit with, and just the sentiment of give and take is I feel like the underline to the whole show. You know, this is, we don't be afraid to ask for help, because as long as you're willing to give help, and I think that stops people sometimes from asking, but as long as you know that you would also give, then you should feel comfortable doing that.
Yes.
If anyone wants to buy me a present from Yoko Show, feel free. I won't bring it to the Goodwill.
So it's not going to be a white elephant?
No, it will not. Okay, so we have a couple more comments. Chuck says he loves hearing your cat insists on sitting in your lap while you work. They used to be gods and they know this. Did you know?
They still believe it. Yeah.
And Raymond loves the teapots where the lid also becomes the cup. And he says the smell of toast is a gift. I agree, Raymond. It's a good smell. Well, we've once again talked without realizing that it's been already an hour. Does anyone who is here with us want to unmute and ask a final question or make a comment before we have some final thoughts? If Yoko, if you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us.
Well, thank you again for sharing your time with us today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the wonderful questions too.
Thank you for your time today and for all that you've done for this exhibition and for the Clay Studio. We're really grateful.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone again on Saturday.
Absolutely, I will be there. And Hasuyo says, thank you for your joyfulness. Thank you for sharing your work, says Ivan. And Chuck says your work is exquisite. Okay, well, I think that's a good thought to end on. Thank you, Yoko. Thanks, everyone. We hope that you have a great day, and we hope we see you on Saturday. Click the link in the chat. Oh, there's Chuck's cat.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Ellen. Have a
Bye.
good day. Nice to see you.
You have a good day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye. Bye, Diana.